I'm super excited. Actually, for our next presentation, it's going to be conversational AI and driving chatbot effectiveness. And so Christian Ward, who is the Chief Data Officer at Yext, is going to be speaking with us, and I'm super excited to have him. So Christian, welcome to CommerceNext.
Thank you. Thanks, Chris. Excellent. Well, very nice to see everyone. Very excited today to talk about conversational AI and what's changed. I think everyone here, probably since November 30th of 2022, feels like something has changed. That's the day ChatGPT came out. Sort of opened up a lot of people's eyes to what is conversational AI. But I got to be honest, it kind of feels like at this point, it's a little bit of AI, everything, everywhere, all at once. If you saw the Academy Award-winning movie, where it just feels like everybody is talking about this, and why are they talking about it? What has changed? And what's better, what's not? And one thing I would offer is, I think we should think about the internet, everything up until this point, right, as the who, what, where, when. It's really the factual basis. When you think about how you use the internet, that's what it was. It was access to information, right? But it wasn't really quite knowledge yet. And you know this based on how you use it. You'll say, when does this open? Do you have this product? You're asking very factual things, generally from a commerce perspective. But artificial intelligence, what has changed, is now we can answer the how and the why, right? In the past, I would ask if something was available, where it was, and how good it was. Now I'm asking, how do I use this product? Why should I use this product? How can you help me? And it's changing because the AI can actually synthesize everything in white there and give you an answer. And we've never had that opportunity before, not at scale and not with any, let's say, good results. Because when we think about how things are developing, there's really 3 steps in this journey. See, we all know search, and we're all pretty good at search. But what you don't realize is search and querying is on a continuum on the way to dialogue. And if you think about chat has kind of moved along this continuum, because many of you have tried chat, you've installed chat, you know your chat. Let's be honest, a lot of times it sucks, because it was a glorified if-then loop, right? The numbers of people that get frustrated with chatbots is pretty significant, and they're going to have to relearn that. But what you'll see is all of these things stem on this continuum towards dialogue. I know the last speaker was talking about personalization. Personalization with search was based on creepy cookie technology to follow you around and then try and pitch you something like the right thing at the right time to the right person. You know what we all learned during the pandemic? That's creepy as shit. You don't really want someone following you around. You want it on your terms when you have initiated a dialogue or you've entered a query. So let's break these down for real quick. Search, the word search, comes from the Latin circo, circus. So literally, going to the circus, it's because you would look inside of a ring, a circle, where you were supposed to look inside the 3-ring circus. You look in each ring. So circus really means you ask a question, and I encircle a huge potential number of answers in search. And that's where it started. Then you look, and we move on to other areas where there's other, if you ask another question, you refine your search. So search is a little different than query. Query is what we've all learned to do over the last 2 decades, which is none of you today now go to the internet if you need shoes and types in shoes, do you? You'll get 9 billion results and none of them are gonna help you find the shoes you want. What do? You say, no, I'm looking for shoes size 9, men's marathon sneakers, right? So you're setting conditions and you're actually building a query. Now it's still technically using search, but you're looking for the intersection of a bunch of different variables. And that's why query comes from querere. It means to seek, to ask. But where this is all headed is dialogue. And dialogue is actually of Greek origin, where dia is through, between, of, and logos, the word. And what this is you're actually starting to add things like discussion and memory to things like chat. Because dialogue is the path by which people ask additional questions and get to what's, say, much more like an offer and not an ad, or help and not redirection, right? How many of you talk about chat systems today and you say, well, it's really about call deflection? That's terrible. You're basically saying, like, you have a metric that says we don't want to talk to you, and that's what we optimize for, right? You don't really want that. What you want is something that's capable of actually helping someone get to the right person or get to an outcome that helps them. Yes, it's a deflection, but it also builds loyalty and trust. And so we're moving through this continuum from search to dialogue. And we've actually, ChatGPT really gives us that opportunity for everyone to understand it. Now, for many of us in this room, we've been messing around with large language models and AI for years. But what we all are feeling right now is something called the Dunning-Kruger effect. And if you're familiar with this, it's a study from the 1990s at Cornell University. And it basically says this. People generally, there's a relationship between how confident they are on any given topic and how much they know about it. So people generally, if they don't know much about something, they get really confident really easily, okay? Like they know it all, because they know just a little bit. But the more you learn, you actually reach a peak, and then it starts to come down. If anyone was wondering, this is the chart for mansplaining. Now, academically speaking, they did a lot of research. It's everybody's splaining, okay? Everyone does it on an equal basis. It's a human construct where you go, who here snow skis? Anybody snow ski? Remember that time where you're like, I'm pretty good at this, and you go to the Black Diamond, and they're like, oh my God, absolutely not. That's the top of that drop, okay? So in AI terms, I feel like this has been happening where people are like, oh, conversational AI, this stuff's easy. I could freaking build this on the weekends. Look, we deployed it in 2 weeks. And then this happens, where the conversational AI asks 1,000 API calls about astrology, and you sell pants, okay? That's a problem. It's starting to talk about things that it shouldn't be. And then it asks you for the nuclear codes, which did happen to Bing's GPT, if you don't know that. It also told the New York Times reporter, writer doing the article on this, if that person should leave their wife, right? So it starts talking about all this stuff because you don't know how to handle it. So I feel like we're all a little bit in the pit of despair here now, kind of going, I don't actually understand any of this, and we're all gonna die. And what's happening is it's gonna start getting better. And I was going to show you today why is it getting better. It's that we're actually starting to understand how we can control this. And you don't want to be on the forefront of this so much where you're one of these people that goes, we're just going to hook up AI to the internet and the website. It'll be fine. Don't do that. It's really dangerous. And remember, it doesn't understand necessarily what you fed it. It's building a statistical probabilistic model of what the next right word should be. So if you're Viking ovens, it can tell you the whole story about the Vikings actually created ovens. And that's not true. And it will keep going because it doesn't understand what it's saying. Now, when we think about this, the reason we all feel this way is because this is the number of large language models that were most interesting to our community, let's say about a year and a few months ago. This was it in December. This was it in March. Since this March chart, there's at least 7 more. This is going so fast that it's very hard to keep in mind, how does this affect your business and how do we put it into good practice? So what changed? Well, and specifically with chatbots. So chatbots are a good idea, and I don't mean to belittle them. But at Yext, we never launched one because we just felt like building never-ending if-then loops was not a great way to get this done. Anybody who's done this knows what a pain in the butt it is, okay? It's not that it can't work, but it's not a delightful experience, and it's not the best use of the knowledge that you've gathered. And so what LLMs did was they gave us the ability to not necessarily be completely beholden to just training data. Classically, you had to feed enough training data and information that you would end up with the type of response you want. So if you wanted good response, bad response, good response, you had to have the data to do this. And many vendors and many companies didn't have that data set. And you'd borrow and you'd try and refine. What LLMs did was they gave us the ability to actually just ask questions and to guide it. So we didn't need as much data. We could say, actually, that wasn't the answer I was looking for. Can you look at it this way? And that changes it all. However, it's still not so great. So I asked ChatGPT, and this is the 4 model, this isn't 3.5, briefly describe what CommerceNext is. And it came back and it gave a really good answer. It said CommerceNext is really retail and e-com. And then I just responded to it. Actually, CommerceNext has changed to only focus on chatbot e-commerce. And it comes back very quickly and says, oh, thanks for the update. As for your information, CommerceNext has shifted its focus specifically to chatbot commerce. And then it goes and gives me a very confident answer on exactly what it probably covers now. And it's a good answer, but it's wrong. I didn't do anything but just answer it back because it's just statistically responding to what I offered. That's brilliant. And it's ever-changing and will change, I think, humanity in a way that we can't even fathom yet. Think of what it does for education and other. But how do we take advantage of it and prevent it from going off-roading? Because even Sam Altman, who was on the Lex Fridman podcast, the founder of OpenAI, he points out every time people go on stage and they say, this thing's broken, like I just did, you're not using it properly. You're using it like a database. It's not a database engine. It's a reasoning engine. Large language models were created as translation engines. They can take one set and they can translate it and they can understand it in context. And so the way we do this at Yext, but generally speaking I think everyone should, is you need to store your knowledge in a structure that's compliant, it's legal, and it has all the knowledge that you want discussed. Then you have to limit that the algorithm, the large language model, is not actually the thing querying the knowledge. The way we do this is we look at it saying, hey, this large language model, take what the human asked me and translate it into search queries. Because search queries are much easier to control if you have a knowledge data set to query from. Then when the search comes back and it says, here are the 4 things that answered that question, then you have the large language model translate what the search came back with. If you don't do it this way or a similar way, you're left with a problem, which is you're not using it in the proper way. You're using it as a database. And that will not work, not with large language models in their current construct. You really have to have a database or a structure. We use a knowledge graph as a structure, but really it's any structured database where you can give and inform the large language model how it should work. So what this comes to, and the way that we found it works real well, is a lot of people and a lot of search tools kind of answer from memory, right? So a large language model might just start typing something, or it might answer from memory. But we've seen enormous success with something called retrieval augmented generation. And what this is it actually will take the data that was in the search algorithm, and it will rephrase and restate it in context with the conversation that it was having in the chat. Hopefully this isn't too technical, but basically what it's stating is, instead of me trying to just talk to the chatbot's like having the conversation with the human, but it's really pulling the data from a totally separate search algorithm, because you can control what the search algorithm is pulling back. This is actually how Google and Bard works, and this is how Bing's ChatGPT works, is it goes and it pulls search results and then restates them. If you're not thinking about it this way, I highly recommend you start working with your vendor, whoever it is, to start thinking and approaching it this way. You're going to be phenomenally happy with the results over what you currently have. And so the way that you can use this is things like case deflection in service, where someone asks a question, they describe it. Not only can you use this setup to pull back the answer and answer the question, you can actually use this setup to drive them to the next question. Same thing with Agent Desktop. This is an area I see lots of opportunity for. So many of our support service people are stuck rifling through effectively a binder of potential answers, and they don't have the immediate process where it can go find answers and state it to them in a way they can rephrase it to a client. So we've embedded the desktop right on the agent. And what's neat about that too is the knowledge graph can store things that the customer can know, but things like discounts or things you might do for them because they've had a bad experience, they're not visible to the customer, but they are visible to the agent. So they know that they're staying on company policy and they're staying within compliance guidelines. Lastly, content generation is a huge area for this. I think this is the part that everyone's worried about from an SEO and SEM and everything else perspective. The world does not need 4 billion articles on 5 tips to improve your summer garden. Like, we don't need that, but we know it's coming. And what's sad is, by embracing that, you're sort of giving Google and other search engines the legal out, where they could say, there's 5 billion of these articles. I'm just going to answer it. I'm not going to cite any of you. Something I think everyone doesn't realize yet is, you have never seen Google angry. Not once in your whole career. It has been a nice, steady growth the whole time of ad sales, ad revenue, and products. They do not care and will not care to cite you or point to you in their generative AI search results. What they care about is maintaining their chokehold on the search experience. And I say that with absolute love in my heart. They're an amazing company. But they are under a serious challenge. Go look up the stats for Microsoft Edge browser and how much market share it's gained since January. It is not insignificant. So why is this happening now? Well, I'm going to frame this in the region beta paradox, if you're familiar with this, which is the region beta paradox states, if you have to go 1 mile for your commute, a lot of people will elect to walk that 1 mile. It takes about 20 minutes. But if your commute is worse by enough, you'll pick up a bicycle and you'll go on bike. Now here's where the region beta paradox comes in. In this region beta there, you see, basically in all instances, you are better off on a bicycle, from 0 all the way to 5. But it takes a certain amount of activation energy for you to go, this is terrible, I'm not walking 3 miles. It has to be bad enough for you to change. And so what AI is going to do for all of you and for us, it's going to force you to look at your tech stack very differently. Because we're all going to very quickly realize your current DXP, your digital experience, everything you're built on, is okay. It's not bad enough. You're like, yeah, we like our CMS. Yeah, I talked to enough of you to know it's not awesome, but it's not terrible. And you're about to have the drop-off. And that's going to be caused by this issue, which is today, there's no center for any experience. Your chat, your Google search results, your website, your search results on your own page, it all is the same knowledge. And it has to be powered. But it's going to be things like competition, trying to maximize less platforms. So instead of having 30 vendors, having 5, but getting more out of them. It's going to be job shifts. And it's also going to be customer expectations. Because while you may not have the data science team of Netflix, Netflix is what the customer is now used to. And so you have to start thinking about how to prepare for that. And so what's next? Well, today, when you think about it, you have chat, you have things like listings, that's data on third-party platforms, reviews, social. All of these are just different forms of knowledge about your content, your capabilities, your services. And now every one of the vendors that provides them is going, yeah, but now with AI. It's like dog walking, but with AI, right? Like, great, we all have AI. But if you look at this, it creates a very simple formula, which is your complete digital experience is the sum total of all of those different things. But if you remember high school algebra, you can factor that equation to this, right? So it's all of these, which are just forms of knowledge, times AI. And what's absolutely nuts is the AI is already commoditized. You're going to choose a different AI for each experience. At Yext, we already use one AI for search. We use 3 different AIs in chat. We use a different AI in listings, and we absolutely use a different one in reviews. Because if you have ChatGPT respond to reviews, you're going to be really upset. It's super confident, and it's kind of a jerk. But if you use another model, I won't name, I've shared with a few of you, another model, I swear to God, they trained it on rom-coms and Bradley Cooper movies. And it is like, I am so sorry, what could I do? Could I do it better? And that is what you're looking for, is they have different alternative forms of their training, and it changes the experience. So in the end, your chat strategy is really just your data strategy. The reality is you need to organize your data to be ready for this. Sitting an AI on your website is not going to cut it. And you're going to see it not cutting it on TikTok videos as people show what it said to them. As Snapchat, they're going through it now. There's a lot of danger in letting the model loose without controlling it or only using it in the proper manner. So, what does this look like today? Well, I can't show you a client's platform, but I can show you ours and how we approach it. And what I'll show you is, this is the back end of our platform. And it's a little bit hard to see, but what we have there at the top is 160,000 different knowledge graph entities. That's things like FAQs, things like blog posts, things like products, services, service desk help tickets. All of that data is stored in a graph, which is structured. So that can also allow me to control all of the different technical or websites. So now what you're seeing on the left-hand side, those are all the different websites and chats and search experiences. So this allows us to power our marketing site, which is a classic CMS, here's what we do sort of site. But then it also powers our development site. All of this is one platform on the back end. So the knowledge powers the CMS, powers the chat, powers the search. So if someone comes here and they type in a search, whatever they type in, the same knowledge that they could find on a web page or in a chat is now bringing back the answers to them in a search experience. See, the single most expensive click in marketing today is the one back to Google. You spent so much time and money to get them to your site, and then we kind of abandon them with like an if-then chat or a crappy search. And ideally, all those are going away, and they're just going to have a dialogue with your brand and with your business. So from here, if I go to our intranet, I can ask a question of our intranet like, I don't know, let's say I'm new. How do I enroll in benefits? The same tool that's analyzing the search is part of the chat system. So when I go to an engineering section, this is where engineers can tell us the ideas they want to see. This is all still in the same knowledge graph. I'm showing you 7 platforms so far, and now I'm going to type in a complex chat, and this is now pulling knowledge from the graph, but then rewriting it using a large language model. So the secret to getting this all correct is to think about your entity, your business, as a massive collection of entities in some sort of structured knowledge. That way you can run it through compliance, you can run it through legal, and you control what that thing says to every one of your customers. With that, I thank you, and please stop by and see us.